really cool opportunity to talk with the coaches of the programs involved, and so I'll introduce them from my left, working towards our right. First is the head coach of the Xavier Musketeers. The Muskies are 8-26 this season. Scott Guggens is in his 10th year at XU, and he's here to my far left. In his second season here at UC, Ty Neal has a team this year that's 11-22, and the head coach of the Bearcats is sitting to my immediate left. To my immediate right, in his second season at Wright State, the Raiders are 22-10 this season, is Greg Lovelady, and the second-year head coach of the Miami Redhawks, Danny Hayden, whose team is 6-25 this season. He is to my far right. I'll start with you. We'll go with seniority since you've been there for 10 years. Just talk a little bit about your team and the season you've had sort of to date.
It's tough to put a good positive spin right now. We're having a tough year right now. We've got a good group of young men on the team. We've been struggling. You can't put a figure on it, whether it's our pitching or our hitting. Our guys are playing hard. We're getting better. We're just not seeing the results right now. It's a little frustrating because we lost a lot from last year, but we also had a lot back. And I thought we'd be further along than what we are. But we're hanging together as a team. We're growing as a team. We're getting better that way, just not getting the results that we want.
Ty, I know you had a walk-off win yesterday, so a little bit of momentum coming into this week. Mm-hmm. Give me sort of an assessment of your club to date.
It's a fun group. It's a young group. We've got 22 freshmen on the roster, and we've won 5 of our last 7 games against pretty good competition. And we're excited about this week and the future of the program.
Coach mentioned 22-10, the best mark of the group so far this year. Second year leading the program as the head man. Give me a sense of how you feel about the season so far.
I've been pleased. I got a really good group of kids, veteran leadership, guys that have been here for a little while, and a good mix of new guys, and they've mixed in well. My older guys have done a great job of incorporating the new guys and getting them acclimated and understanding what we're all about, what our expectations are, and so we've had some success. We have pitched and played really good defense, and you always got a chance to win when you do that. And offensively, we've been not as good as we would hope, but we keep getting better, and we've shown some signs. So it's still early in the year. There's a lot of weekends to go until the end of the year. So we're grinding out and trying to figure out our identity offensively, and hopefully that'll come around and we'll keep pitching and playing good defense like we have. Danny,
I'm sure you're not going to sugarcoat the record, so in addition to just talking about the way your team has played this season, just kind of give us a sense of the direction the Redhawks baseball program is going in.
Well, the frustrating part about it is that, coming into the season, I thought we had enough talent to be pretty successful this year, and it certainly hasn't gone our way. We've had a couple injuries that have hurt us, and I think we probably didn't take into account for how much we lost last year in terms of some really tough guys in that senior class last year that led us pretty good. Losing those guys hurt a lot, but I was pretty confident that we'd have some guys step up and fill those roles, and right now we are certainly struggling to do that. It's been a long first half of the season, but still I'm optimistic that there's enough talent on that team to be a good team. We've just got to get something to feel good about and start rolling with that.
I'm sure we have a lot of questions, but I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the event that the man that this event is named after, and I'll stay with you and kind of work our way back. The Joe Nuxhall Classic, the name Joe Nuxhall evokes so many warm feelings among people here. His legacy still lives on through the Miracle League and Miracle Fields, and obviously a lot that's done with Joe and the Reds Community Fund. You guys all have, if not Southwest Ohio roots, at least Ohio roots, and now coaching here in Southwest Ohio, and either in Cincinnati or in Oxford or Dayton. Can each of you kind of talk a little bit about what it means to play in a program named after a guy who's so iconic in this area?
Yeah, I mean, grew up listening to Marty and Joe on the radio my whole life. Always brought a smile to my face listening to those Reds games. Got an opportunity to meet Joe one time my freshman year of college. I was playing at Miami, and we were playing down at Bradenton, Florida, and Joe Nuxhall was there with the Reds at the time, and talked with our team a little bit, and it was a really neat message. But the nuts and bolts of it were how neat an opportunity that we were getting to play baseball and how special it was, and to make sure that we treated it that way every day. and that's something that it made enough of an impact on me that was something we preached to our team quite a bit. And Joe got his broadcasting start at Miami. A lot of people don't know that, but he started his broadcasting career at Miami, and it's certainly something that I'm feel honored to be able to get a part of this, and hopefully our baseball team represents the game the right way and represents Joe the right way this week.
Coach?
Yeah, obviously not growing up in the area and not having an idea, but quickly I learned what an unbelievable man he was, and obviously that his voice rang through a lot of TVs and radios that kids, or not kids, but adults now saying when they grew up listening to him. And I really got to see the depth of it when Marty came and was the keynote speaker of our first pitch banquet. I think it was 5 years ago, and it was just after Joe had passed. And so we got to learn a lot about him through Marty and the stories, and just being able to see the people in the audience that were enamored by the stories and just listening, and a lot of those people had grown up listening to him and stuff. So that's when I first really, I think, felt the depth of what he meant to the community and to this area, and obviously to the Reds. And I think it's great for a college atmosphere to be able to recognize him and be able to honor him, and for the four of us to be able to play. I think for two things: one, that puts us in a tournament environment, being able to do this, and then two, a way to honor him and be able to show him our thanks for everything that he's done, not only for the community but for the game of baseball in this area. I think is a big deal, especially since most of us have a lot of kids from this area. Gives us an opportunity for them to know who he is, learn who he is, and kind of play in his honor.
It's your first opportunity hosting. The school has hosted it 4 times, but obviously your first chance as the head coach of the Bearcats to host the Joe Nuxhall Classic.
It's a little overwhelming. I also grew up in Southwest Ohio and not really listening a whole lot to Marty and Joe until I got a little older. But just his legacy in Southwest Ohio as a baseball player, being a 15-year-old pitching in the big leagues, but that was 71 years ago, by the way. But also, just in my experience in college baseball, being I played at Miami University and coached there, and now being at the University of Cincinnati, and being around baseball in this area for a long time, he was always very visible and the community, and I think a lot of times he gets recognized as maybe the youngest in the big leagues and the radio stuff, but I think he wants his legacy to be known as a guy that promotes amateur baseball in this area, and I think it's awesome that these 4 schools are doing this because there's very good amateur baseball in this area at the Little League level, the high school level, and also the college level, and we're honored to be associated with the Cincinnati Reds and Joe Nuxhall and having an opportunity to host this. Our staff has done a great job in throwing this press conference together, and then I think it's going to be an exciting 2 days out on the field also. But just what he wanted to get out of amateur baseball at this level, and I would, as I mentioned before, I would see him out at different events, and I was a nobody, and I still don't consider myself too important, but he always had time for people, and I think that's synonymous with baseball in general. It's such a small family of baseball coaches, baseball people, and just a bunch of good human beings, and he was a good one. So we're honored to host, and we're excited to get Kim, his son, out here tomorrow to throw the first pitch also, and make sure that the family stays involved in what we're doing.
Coach?
Very similar stories to what they said. Again, I'm a little bit older, so back when I grew up, that's all you could do is listen to Marty and Joe, and they had the game of the week on Saturday, so maybe you got to see the Reds once a week, but not like nowadays where they're on every night. But about 8 years ago, I think Brian Cleary and Dan Simons, Rob Cooper, we got together and wanted to try to get a tournament going on, and thought it would be great to honor Joe Nuxhall, putting his name on this tournament. It's a great event. Joe is a big icon in Cincinnati, and it's a great way to honor him. Again, with the I've met Joe several times, and again, unbelievable human being. Great announcer, but he was an unbelievable human being. He's very generous with his time, and again, it's a great way to honor him and to play this tournament.
One thing I'd like for the four of you to each talk a little bit about is, one of the purposes of this event is to promote amateur baseball. And I've got to think from a college coaching standpoint, you're in a pretty enviable area that there's a lot of talent here in Cincinnati, a lot of talent in Northern Kentucky and in Southwest Ohio. Yet at the same time, there's a number of Division I programs, even beyond the four represented here right now. And I'll just sort of throw it out there. Give us a status as people who recruit. How good is high school baseball in this area in terms of feeding programs like the ones you guys run?
I'll start off.
Yeah.
This is a hotbed for with amateur baseball. Dating down to what Larry Redwine's doing in the Southwest Ohio League with all the little league groups, and then the high school baseball here in the city is very good. There's some major conferences, the GMC, the GCL, and for us, it's I can on my drive home see three really good baseball teams just driving home each day, and it's all of us. I know all of us have the same goal, and recruiting locally and finding the best players that we feel are good fits for our program, but. And the high school coaches do a good job of developing guys, but it's you can get it done here in the state of Ohio, and most importantly in this region, and fill your roster with quality guys, for sure.
Yeah, I think there's enough good coaching in the high school level right now too that makes our jobs a little bit easier. That these guys aren't raw athletes when they get on college campuses. They know how to play the game the right way, and we've seen it the right way, but we've all seen plenty of high school baseball that doesn't look right either, and it's tough picking the needle out of the haystack on some of those when you think you see some tools there, but you're not quite sure because it barely looks like a baseball game sometimes. And in Cincinnati, it's certainly the high school baseball here, they've done a good job. I think the coaches have done a great job of teaching their guys not only the fundamentals and the mechanics of the game, but how to play the game properly too.
I mean, there's definitely not a shortage of talent. I mean, as many as D1 schools as there are in Ohio, and especially even in Southwest Ohio, and when you include Northern Kentucky, I think there's a lot of Division I programs around the country in states where there's one or two, and they struggle to find enough players to field two teams that they feel like can put a product on the field at the Division I level that is something that can win. And we definitely don't have that. And a lot of that comes from this area. When you look at schools around up north in Ohio and stuff, they're coming down here to get the players as well. And so there's definitely not a shortage, and that's just a testament, I think, to the way things are run from the low levels of Little League and whatnot, and the high school coaches who do just such a great job. And it's definitely makes it a lot easier, I think, for all of us, knowing that we don't have to travel too far to find quality people and quality baseball players that we can bring into our programs to help us try to win.
Coach, you've been at this for a while now in this area, so you've probably seen the ebb and flows of the talent pool in this general vicinity. Where's it at now?
I think it's at a high level. I think in all aspects, it's at a high level. And a lot of it, those coaches have talked about. I think first and foremost is the coaching. I think the college or the high school coaching and the travel ball coaching is better. They're teaching more of the fundamentals. The players are playing more of a year round. You don't unfortunately see many of the multi-sport athletes, which, again, we like to get the multi-sport athlete. That's kind of being phased out because you have to make a decision. Are you going to be a football player? Are you going to be a basketball guy? Are you going to be a baseball guy? Because now, you have the indoor facilities. They're working more year round. They have their own hitting coaches, their own pitching coaches, which can be a positive and also to be negative, you know. I mean, but they do. They're doing it. You know, I have a son who's in the 4th grade, and you know, already we're trying to have to make decisions. And I'm like, this is crazy. But that being said, it is making baseball better at every level. And I can tell you at the college level, it's really increased. There's a lot more parity across the board. You know, not only in with these 4 programs, but you know, everywhere in college baseball.
Could I add one thing?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I think the community, and you know, you're talking high school baseball, amateur baseball. I think the community. This is an unbelievable event. 2 days of baseball, 4 games. That, you know, I think the local high school coaches, the local baseball players, summer coaches should come out and watch these 2 teams play, these 4 teams play. And one, they're going to realize that we're also playing high level baseball here at the collegiate level. But these guys need to go out and see where they fit in. You know, hey, I can play at that level, or hey, maybe I can't play at that level. You know, Coach Goon's had a lot of success, championships and regionals at Xavier. The Wright State program, Coach Lovelady, they were just in a regional last year. Both of you were in the regionals last year. Miami's had a ton of success, and we've all had great players in these programs. I guess my challenge is to the public to come out and watch these teams play, and because there are very good players here, and there are storied programs, and I think most importantly, I think people need to see what it really looks like to play at this level.
Yeah, I was going to sort of go in that direction next before we open it up to any questions that anybody might have. You know, it's such a great sports area, and it's such a great college sports area. What are some things that could be done to promote college baseball? To even, you know, it's funny, I'll bring up on my radio show, you know, Xavier plays or UC plays or Miami plays, and I get people that go, oh, already? You know, because you start playing well before the major leaguers. Like, you start playing really before they even have spring training. What could be done to sort of promote your sport a little bit more and make it part of the bigger collective consciousness of sports fans and alums in this area?
Get it warmer in February.
Yeah.
That'll help.
Yeah, that's probably one of the bigger challenges is the weather. You know, starting out, and then when you get to about this point of the season, now a lot of the other kids, high school kids, are playing games. You know, Little League, they've already started their tournaments, so
Sure.
they're stretching all different directions. So it's tough to get them out there. I mean, I'm sure there's some other marketing ideas you can do, but it's a kind of a tough time of the year. And then you have the Reds going. You know,
Yeah.
when the Reds start up, and again, that's a positive. But you know, people want to go to the Reds, and you have Little League games, and it's a tough sell, I think, right now.
Sure.
I think a big part of it, though, I mean, I think most of us are getting into a portion of our schedule where we're playing more home games now, where before this we probably haven't had a ton yet. But the biggest thing is trying to reach out to kids in the area. If you can get kids at your baseball games, they're going to yell at mom and dad the next day that they want to go back, and it's something that I think all of us are making effort to do. But you know what, it's more fun to, baseball's fun anyways, but it's more fun to play with. There's a bunch of people that are watching you, and I think just getting kids excited about college baseball, and to them they're you know how little kids can think, but they think they're looking at their hero, and it might be a kid hitting 220 for Miami, you know. So it's that's the neatest part about baseball, and getting kids in the area to come out and support it, and I think things like that are the grassroots to get more people at our games and creating that buzz.
Any questions?
Do you guys talk to your players about who Joe Nuxhall was? Do they know who he was? If you do, what do you tell them?
We will have an educational reminder before the thing starts tomorrow, but I think the local guys on our club anyway have a pretty good idea of who he is. I would say our out-of-town guys have no idea of maybe who he is or even his legacy.
So what will you tell them?
Well, I don't want to steal anyone's thunder, but there's a couple of videos that we will show to the public during the thing. But we're going to show them a couple of the videos, and You know, we'll discuss the Miracle League and also, you know, his time as a player. Keep it pretty simple, but I think it's important that they're aware of why we're doing this and a little bit of who he is, who he was.
Anybody else?
I would just echo what Ty said. I think that it's important to make sure that there's an understanding there with our guys that they know how great a legacy this man has left, and you know, especially when you got 6 wins, you're always looking for creative ways to inspire the troops anyway. So, well, I think that should be a helpful bonus for us.
Anybody else?
Just the idea of, I heard a couple coaches mention the idea of playing a tournament format mid-season. How can that kind of boost energy of the team when you're trying to, try to give them something different as opposed to just another regular season game?
We're all friends up here, but I would not like nothing more than to
Beat
take
UC.
Guggens tomorrow. We're all competitors. All of our guys are competitors. It adds a little mid-season excitement, a little local flavor to it. And you always tell your guys, if you can't get excited about one, just playing, but two, playing your neighbor and beating them, then you don't need to be playing the game.
When you get to the NCAA tournament of regionals, 4 teams, and I think it's good practice. Although it's not double elimination, I still feel like it puts a different thought process into how you go about things, just in terms of how you play and understanding that there's winners and losers play on the next day. So I think that adds an element that is a good opportunity for us to practice for when you get to the conference tournament or you get to a regional, and being in those types of atmospheres where it's a tournament feel to it. So anytime you can mimic that beforehand and get your guys in that type of atmosphere, I think it's a good thing. And then obviously when you add that a lot of kids played together and we're all in such a close proximity, that I think that just adds to the just how important it is and the type of pressure that it can put on guys, and I think that's great practice for the end game.
How do you decide who hosts the game? Who goes to the tournament? Does it
Yeah,
rotate?
it does. It rotates.
Ty just tells us.
No, it's between UC and Miami. One, because they have lights, and then because Joe had connections with both of them. Again, not excluding Wright State, but that's when we put this together. That's how we determine it. So it just goes back to UC or Miami.
Probably asking the wrong guys here, but when I see 4 schools together play a tournament, I think, why can't they do that in college basketball? I mean, are there hurdles for you guys to overcome to put this together? I guess there's not as much money involved in terms of what guarantees teams get, but how does that come?
We play midweek games anyway, and a lot of times it's against local opponents. If we didn't have this event, we'd maybe be playing Xavier tomorrow anyway, or one of these schools.
And that was, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And we don't have the, being a equivalency sport, we don't have maybe the budget that some of the other sports have. So midweek you play close, and there's no guarantees. There's other than a T-shirt and a post-game meal, but there's no guarantees involved. It's we would all be playing this week anyway.
It would be nice if they could do that for basketball. Sure. That's not your problem. I know you probably agree with that.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do about that. Anybody else? I know we're gonna do a coin flip to determine who the.
I thought it was a hot dog eating contest.
Oh, you guys, you guys,
Fantastic, fantastic.
gotta loosen my belt up.
Damn.
Get mustard on that tie.
We're gonna do a coin flip to determine the home team in the Miami Wright State game tomorrow, and then I think that'll wrap things up for us, unless you guys have any parting shots.
Thanks for coming out.
Absolutely.
Appreciate everybody
Thank
coming
everybody for
Thank
coming
you.
out. Alex, am I flipping the coin? That's a lot of responsibility.
You have a point.
I work at iHeartMedia, it's questionable. I do have a coin. All right, would either of you like to call it? Be really informal? Coach, want to call it in the air?
Sure.
All right,
Tails.
Big coin.
heads it is. That was the heads, that was the tails. It's heads. I've never been asked to flip a coin before for anything. Yeah. The Red Hawks will be the home team.
Sniffing out some.
Yeah, some bias.
Yeah.
I'm a UD guy, so I got no dog in the fight.
Even worse.
I know.
Never the bias.
All right, well, enjoy Last Licks tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Hope everybody supports the Joe Nuxhall Classic. 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock tomorrow, 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock on Wednesday. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.